Hello everyone, happy Friday, TGIF. For real, for real, for real. So, I'm Steve, Mark's at work, but this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark, so thank you for watching. Now today, in the interest of it being Mental Health Awareness Month, or Mental Health Month, I thought I'd talk about one of the more unflattering things that comes along with mental illness, addiction, eating disorders, some of the heavy hitters that I've had experience with along the way and have coped with more or less in better or worse ways, still alive, but was almost taken out by a few of those things. And one of the things that keeps them going is a certain amount of lying to yourself, lying to myself. In thinking about this, please bear in mind, I'm going to try to keep it in the first person, lying to myself. But if I slip out of it and say yourself, please understand I'm still talking about me. You know, I'm probably just deflecting to avoid blame or some deep stuff. But at any rate, I'll start and go through the three kind of chapters of challenges and how lying to myself and not being honest with myself, and of course not with anybody else, kept that in motion. Now, the first thing I kind of grappled with going through my teens was an eating disorder. I had gone from about 270 pounds to in the 150s. But even though I had gotten to not an anorexic weight at that point, I was doing anorexic behaviors and restricting to get from probably 230 down to that weight. I lost the first 40 pounds healthfully, slim fast. Like, that's not restricting. I'll save it for later. And you have to kind of convince yourself of a certain amount of crap to justify starving yourself as a way to lose weight. You can spin it 1,000 different ways, but, and I know, like, it weasels its way into the diet world now, because there's all sorts of things that are still starvation and malnutrition, but they pass off as diets. But a couple of the different things I had been telling myself was, I remember the first one was, I'm overweight. Technically, I don't need to eat again until I'm underweight. This was true to me. In my 15-year-old, 16-year-old mind, that was true. I don't need to eat again until then. There was a couple other ones. I will be the thinnest kid in the class as soon as I'm thinner than him. Now, mind you, I had no friggin' concept of how fat or thin I was because I had, like, body image issues all the time. When I got to the point where I could see my ribs, I could still see other areas where I could need to lose weight. I still saw a fat guy in the mirror. So that's more misperception than lying to yourself, maybe. I also thought that by being thin, I was going to get popular. I was going to get a girlfriend. In the deepest recesses of my mind, I thought I could, I wasn't out when I was in high school, but I thought I'd have one of those weird, soft porn interactions where I'd meet a guy in the locker room, one of those TMI kind of moments that, happen. Like, all these sorts of things were going to come because being thin was going to fix everything. It was going to fix absolutely everything. Nothing else mattered as long as I was getting thinner. So every single problem was put on the back burner. Applying for college, getting picked on at school. I wasn't really worried about grades. I probably should have been. But any other concern was washed away with that. Now, out of high school, into college, right out of college, into drinking. Now, there's a certain amount of denial that goes with drinking, and that's maybe not exactly lying to yourself, but it's pretty close. It kind of started, the heavy drinking started when I was in a relationship with another person who also drank a lot. Can't say they were an alcoholic, but they drank a lot. I don't usually know too many people that need a Miller Lite to go to the grocery store, and they drive to the store with it between their knees. But, again, that's not for me to say. But I told myself, the lie, because I didn't need to do that, I wasn't an alcoholic. The lies I told myself to keep that label further away from me. Well, I don't drink in the daytime. And then I did that because we went to brunch. And then I don't drink on weeknights. And then it was like, well, I don't drink on weeknights unless we go out to dinner. But then we'd go to the bar after dinner. So I don't do that, and I don't do that. And then we broke up, and I was drinking for 2. And sad people drink. Sad people drink. So I was coping. That's another lie I was telling myself. I was coping with pain. you cannot cope when you're drunk. You can cry and call your friends at 2 in the morning, but you can't cope. So that's what I was doing. And everybody drinks. And there's plenty of people that, throw back whiskey or vodka at 8 o'clock in the morning getting into the shower. And there probably are. But they weren't half dead from it with the delirium tremens and all that kind of stuff. I was. So, kind of running out of lies. What then segued into my mental health was that I went home on a medical leave from my job where I was drinking myself right out of it and went to mental health treatment. So there, the lie was, see, you're not an alcoholic. You don't have a drinking problem. You're just nuts. So take these pills and you won't be nuts, and then you can drink again. So that lasted about 3 weeks once I got back to Philadelphia, and then I got fired. I showed up to work really drunk and really late. And I was very rightfully fired. So then I go home and in and out of rehab about 5 times, and eventually started to get better. But towards the end, I am drinking and I'm developing symptoms of bipolar disorder, and they're really hard to pin down because when I'm drunk, you could friggin' throw darts at the DSM and I meet the criteria for almost everything. So I keep telling myself I don't have a drinking problem, I'm just nuts. So we're going to the doctor, I'm getting 1,000 different medications, and I can't control the mental illness that's like putting gasoline on a fire by drinking. So I finally get the booze out of my system, and then I start trying treatment for the bipolar disorder. And I'm thinking, chemical imbalance, there's 1,000 theories. Chemical imbalance, some kid was mean to me, a vitamin deficiency, a change in diet, the tilt of the Earth's axis. I'm not knocking or approving of any of those, but I benefit from medication and lifestyle changes. That's as much as I can say that's been beneficial to me. And I haven't been in the hospital in about 7 years or so. So that's my testimonial to whatever. But initially I thought, well, I'll take the medications, but I don't have to do anything else. That was my other little. I don't need to change my lifestyle. I don't need to do anything. So I'll still drink half a pot of coffee every morning. And I'll still do some of the eating disordered behaviors. I'll dabble in those. I'll take these pills, but maybe not those pills, because I lose my edge when I take those. I'll take anything to help me sleep. God, I don't want to take those either. So I was like kind of playing doctor with all my stuff, and then they would give me this is like the best kept secret for mental health that I can tell you, especially if you're on medication. And it's, again, what worked for me, it doesn't work for everybody because there's 1,000 reasons why these couldn't work for you. You know those stupid little worksheets they give you in every treatment center, in every outpatient therapy group, in every one-on-one therapy group? Not the cognitive behavioral therapy ones. You can just put that under the kitty litter. The ones where it says, get a good night's sleep, eat a balanced diet, get out and get some sunlight every day, call people, if you can swing it, get a pet. All those silly little Pollyanna things are probably more than half of what keeps me well, and then the medication does the rest. But I didn't want to deal with all that stuff. I thought it was too stupid, too below me. I'm smarter than that. That's the last lie. And that overarched really all of them. My sense of arrogance, which still needs to be checked probably once a week, over all of it, that I'm above this, that I'm too good for this, that people like me don't drink, aren't alcoholics. Like, have you seen my video about how I used to drink mouthwash? Talk about lying to yourself. That I'm too smart to have a mental illness. That I'm too well informed, too educated. I'm a college graduate. I come from a good family. So technically, I'm not allowed to even have these kind of problems. There's a lot of things that I would say to myself just to talk myself out of it. And it was so glaring that something was wrong. It was all over my face. It was all over my puffed up lithium ankles. Going to the ER because I was spitting blood because I was purging. Like, all those sorts of things should have been big red flags, but I just didn't want to think about it. And I would tell myself whatever I could to talk myself out of it. And everything was better as long as I was thinner. The drinking wasn't an issue as long as I could hold a job. I would tell myself that too. And I'd get any job for 3 weeks, and after I got the first paycheck, go get drunk, lose the job. So, and the mental health stuff, as long as I was out of the hospital, you know, for a year or so, I would feel better and then screw with the meds and end up back in the hospital. Or I would stop taking the meds so I could drink because they mixed with the alcohol. And God forbid I mix the alcohol with something like the meds. So I'd rather drink than take the pills. So it has its function along the way. And make no mistake, when you're good at lying to yourself, especially as a function of the addiction, you get pretty good at lying to other people too. And because, you know, I'm a decent, pretty sincere guy when I'm well, but when I'm not, it spins on its head, you know. I did some grimy stuff. I'm capable of some grimy stuff, I'll say that. So, but another lifetime, hopefully all in the past. One of the best ways to deflate all the lying to yourself is to just come clean. To just be in a place, if it's a geographic location, I had to be in a 90-day rehab to be in a safe enough spot to say, I don't know anything about anything. I don't know what the hell's going on. I've been bullshitting myself for a very long time to the point where I don't even know what's real anymore. And that was a safe enough space to start to stitch life back together. So that was what happened to me. And, you know, so far it's been, like I said, about 7 years. And there's been bumps, obviously, but more up than down. So thank you for watching. That's my little spiel. Please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. You can follow Mark and I on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc, or you can follow us on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc. It's actually a friend request, so you can follow us there. Mark does a good job on the Facebook page. And we will catch up with y'all soon. Bye.